family, social media family, 7.5 billion people on the planet, life always in control in our hands. Hope everybody's doing well during this period of social distancing and rediscovery. I want to talk to you today about two different shows that I've watched on Netflix throughout the years, and maybe like compare and contrast, but not necessarily compare and contrast, but just show the differences in the two. One of them is titled The Walking Dead. I'm pretty sure the whole world knows about that one. Phenomenal success story. And also there's one on Netflix called The Kingdom, seasons 1 and 2. And they both deal with the dead. In The Walking Dead, when I first watched it, it's like Rick Grimes is a police officer. You see all these cars on the road, don't know what's going on, get attacked, and ends up in the hospital. And then all of a sudden, the people that are dead start coming to life. And initially, when he sees this, he's like, when I first watched it, his response was like, "What in the world is going on around here? What is wrong with this?" And he has a dilemma. He can either stay there and try to fight through it, or he can escape. So he chose to escape. And along his escape route, him just trying to figure out what's going on, he's trying to find people that he can connect with so that they can figure out exactly what's going on. And he doesn't really find anyone. He runs into people, and by him running into people, he's thinking like, but man, what is going on in the world? Why are all these dead people around us all of a sudden? I don't really know what to do. But he knows that he can't stay there. And other people in the world know that they can't stay there as well. So he runs into this one guy, gives him a radio, tell the guy, look, this is how we're going to keep in communication. They say, okay, and they go about their separate ways. Now, as Rick is traveling through this universe of The Walking Dead, he's connecting with people, right? And initially when you see this, you're thinking that Rick and his team are preparing to fight against, the dead and trying to conquer that. And Rick's whole strategy is he got to get people together to overcome this disaster that has happened in the Walking Dead world. And his complication is he can't really find trustworthy people. And when he finds trustworthy people, they're not necessarily trustworthy because everybody wants something. In the end, it's always like backstabbing. And Rick is just trying to be open to this, right? He's trying to make sure that, people can live. They had to figure out how to kill the Walking Dead. They had to figure out how to stay away from these zombies. But most importantly, the most damaging part of the show is that people aren't really wanting to work together. You know what I mean? Like, everybody got their own little section of town that they're just trying to be the master and the domain over, and they don't have time for other people. They're not really fearing the Walking Dead, they're fearing the contact with other people. But yet and still throughout the show, the Walking Dead pops up out of nowhere. And remind you now, the Walking Dead, when you see them, they're walking all slow and methodical, and they don't really have a point, just the fact that they're always looking for a live body to devour and then have that body to turn. Now, when the Walking Dead bites you, they don't look for you to turn, right? They just bite you because they're hungry. They're trying to get at you. And Rick sees this and he understands it, so he developed strategies along with other people to make this work for him so that their people could have food, clothing, and shelter, and they could keep the zombies far away from what they're trying to build. And other people are doing the same thing, and they don't realize that the goal is the same. Try to take care of the community and to keep the zombies far away. And you got to fight to keep the zombies far away, because what happens throughout the show, and what I loved about it, is that the dead would just pop up anywhere, because wherever they died is where they're going to resurrect. If you happen to go in and get food and somebody died behind the counter, where that person behind the counter going to see you and then just come chasing you. But unfortunately, it's not really fast enough for you to capture you, because one can't catch someone on fast leg, especially when they're walking slow, right? So Rick and them, they found a way to maneuver that. They can kind of manipulate them, get them into a spot and then they can just stab him in the head, and that next thing you know, it's over. And as the series progressed, some people begin to understand that they need to work together, but still every time the season ends, there's always an adversary. There's always a nemesis. Besides the people that are walking dead, the zombies, there's always an enemy in human form that has the same consciousness as you. And this is what I find so amazing. And then the last season that I watched, now here's where it culminated for me, is that Rick now is in a very peculiar situation, and the one where he has to submit to this guy named Negan. I think that's what his name is. And the big hoopla before it came on, everybody says Negan is coming to town. And I was never one to read the comic books or the books that was written about The Walking Dead. I just watched the show. And when Negan comes into Rick's world, which Negan is already around the world anyway, but when he interacts with Rick, you find that Negan is the antithesis of what Rick is. Rick want to work with everybody and do everything. Negan is like, no, we not even working like that. I'm dominating you, your culture, and anybody that knows you. I'm taking everything that you have, and you're going to work for me, no questions asked. If not, I got this bat. I don't know if he called it Lucille now, but I got this bat. And this bat will crack heads. It'll crack yours and your family. And they didn't believe him. So when the show comes on, Negan kills a couple of them just to prove his worth. I mean, he beats them into the ground to beat them into submission. Now, Rick has a choice. Rick got to say, look, I either got to give in to this man and his entourage, or I can fight him and then all of us can die. Now, Rick being humble in nature, man, he surrenders, man. I mean, you know, it hurts him, but it's surrender because he has to surrender for the life of his clan and to try to make sure that they are okay. But Negan still don't want to hear that. Negan got all the power. He can take Rick and drop him in a bunch of zombies and get devoured, or he can take everything that he has and not leave him anything. But Negan is saying, no, you're going to work for me and you're going to do what I want to do. And I mean, people was loving the fact that Negan was dominating like this. I think they got good ratings, but I think that the people begin to sense that that Rick can't triumph. He can't overcome this one. Why? Because there's someone that's more powerful than him. And in the show, it's to me, it's like, yo, almost like that in life. There's always somebody more powerful than somebody else. But Rick is still trying to talk to the man. He's trying to figure him out and figure what's going on. He can't make heads or tail of what this guy is. But Rick is doing some soul searching too. He's just trying to figure out, man, what am I supposed to do? I don't even know what I'm supposed to do with this, right? And all of a sudden, it culminates into this altercation between him and Negan. Rick's son got bit and was turning, and Rick was getting furious with the situation, and he felt he needed to do something. So it culminated in him and Negan getting into a fight where Rick had the option to kill him. But you know what? Rick didn't kill him. He let the man live, but he let him live in jail, and he went down there and talked to him every time. Because Rick was still trying to figure out, how could a man know that he's facing all these zombies, still want to dominate all these people? And Negan couldn't really give an answer other than the fact that Negan just feels he needs to dominate whatever he is around, and the people feel the same way. And what happens to the mentality of the people in the movie, in the show, is that their mentality bends towards wanting to dominate everybody rather than just trying to work with everybody, because now everybody sees that they have to be out for themselves. So Rick comes back, but at this point, he's like, I have to surrender, man. I can't get these people to come together. We can't destroy all these zombies, and there's no communication of honest teamwork. And Rick Grimes gets taken away in a helicopter. I mean, like, when you think about it, it's like, why you keep putting so much energy into something where people are never really going to come together anyway? Because every time you do it, it's not only a battle with zombies that you can master if you work as a team, but no matter what you do, there's a Judas somewhere to be found. You know what I mean? Like, what do you do with that? You just can't really do anything with that. And it makes you just give up on the situation. So in the show, the man goes from not understanding how to do it, nothing when it comes to teamwork, to building people in relationships all the way up to the point where he realized no matter how many I build, no matter what we do, destruction is always around the corner somehow, some way. And I just found that totally like TV is really, really good, right? Because it's like No matter what you do, if you try to relate life to it, it doesn't really work. And if you try to relate that to life, it doesn't really work. But you do know that teamwork works if you do that. But you got to always have an adversary. And I think that Negan was like the roughest one. I don't know if he overcame that if you look at the show or not, but I know it was rough for him to deal with. But nobody really wanted to work together. And the zombies are easy to master because they're not fast. They're not smart. They only go by sound. And if they bite you, then you turn, and then you get more of them. And they are there to just fall into what you want. And when you think about The Walking Dead, that's what I think about. It wasn't so much the zombies that was a problem for me. It's just that people just can't work together. No matter what we do, it's good to have differences of opinion, but the main thing is we got to fight these zombies out here because we all need food, clothing, and shelter, and we got to be safe. So we got to come together. There's always somebody changing that. Now, the next show that I want to talk about is called The Kingdom, and this is on Netflix also, season 2. Now, I just stumbled upon this one because you know how Netflix puts up the thing about coming soon or the show you need to watch. And I saw The Kingdom, and I saw like this lady at the top of all these ladies at the top, and I'm thinking, this should be a good show about royalty or something like that. Now, this one comes on, and it comes on that this is once again a fight for power. And there's this prince who's like pretty much ostracized from seeing his dad because his dad had married this young lady, and her father wanted to keep the prince away from that because he wanted his daughter to get pregnant by the king so that when they have a baby, he'll be the next line of rule. Now, when I watched this, the thing that I found out is that the king is literally dead when it comes on. The king has been turned into a zombie. And it's hidden from his son, but his son wants to see his father, but the man that's controlling the power said you can't do that. So one day the man take a young man in to feed the king. And when he takes him in the king, now the young man is naive. The man just say go in there and feed him, but don't get too close. So he goes in there and he hears something behind the sheets, but he doesn't really see anything. And he don't push the plate far enough, so he puts his hand out and out jumps the king, snatch him, bite him, eat him, devour him. And then the only thing that's left to remain is the carcass. Now, I'm going to remind you at the beginning now, in this particular kingdom, the people are starving. There's no food for them to eat. They only eat twigs and weeds and anything that they could boil to eat. So the king the person that's standing in place of the king don't want to feed anybody, but mind you, everybody else in his circle is eating well. The man says, well, we can't bury him here because we don't want anybody to find out what's going on with the king or have any doubts about him being alive. So he says, take the body out to where he lived and bury him out there, but just don't bury him here. So they take the body, put it in a coffin, and then they ride off. Meanwhile, cut to the guy and this young lady is in this particular town, and the man is saying that people are hungry and we have no meat and we got to get something because all of these weeds are not working. We got people that are dying. He said, look, I'm going to go and look for and find us a deer, and I'm going to bring this deer back, and then the people can have meat. And she says, there's no deers around. He said, no, you haven't gone up far enough into the outer limits of the mountains. So he leaves, and she's there, and while the people are just struggling, like you see them eating weeds, and they're like so weak, and nobody seems to be happy. And the young lady's figuring out, how can I feed these people? So my man comes back, and he has thrown meat into the pot. Man, he cooks this meat at 650 degrees. He get it nice and tender, and he serves it to the people. And the people are so happy. You see them smiling in the kingdom because all they got is now they got the weeds and they got the soup, but now they got the meat. And the man is looking at them and he's real happy that they got the meat and they're eating. But the lady is skeptical, so she doesn't eat any meat and he doesn't eat any meat. Come to find out that he fed them that very carcass that the king said to get away from the city. Now they eat this meat, ladies and gentlemen, and they go to bed happy and full. Or something happens. The lady wakes up, and the man that didn't eat the meat wakes up, and he hears people growling. And don't you know that meat was tainted from the bite of the king, and it turned that people into zombies? when those zombies awaken, now here's what is the difference between the two zombies. Not the concept of the Walking Dead, but the zombie portion of it. These zombies, when they awaken, they do not walk, ladies and gentlemen. Everything that they do, they sprint. I mean, all out sprint. No matter who you are, no matter where you are, no matter what you do. When they come to get you, they are sprinting towards you full speed. And then they don't grab you. They run into you, they knock you down, then they bite you. And they eat you. And then they go and they get more. And when they eat you, maybe instantly, you turn into a zombie. Now, mind you, while they're turning into zombie, they are sprinting, and this guy got to fight them off, and this young lady got to try to get away. Now, the prince can't go see his father. Then the king comes up. Then the guy that's in power comes with a mandate saying, no, this prince, you got to go, because if you stay here, you will be killed, because now you are committing a treasonous act. Now, this man is supposed to be the next one in line. But now he finds out that he has to go. But he hears something about a doctor that knows what's wrong with his dad, so he chose to go there. Now, guess where he ends up, ladies and gentlemen, when he travels? He ends up in that same city where the people ate the tainted meat. Now, he's a prince, but he doesn't go there as a prince. He has to hide because they're looking for him to kill him. But when he gets there, he begins to see what the dead look like there. Now, they still don't have any food, so these zombies, when they run at you, they sprint, they knock you down, they bite you, they eat you, you turn, and the speed of them is so fast, ladies and gentlemen. And I just want to take a second to commend the people that are extras in it looks like it's a lot of fun, because all they do as zombies is run. When I say run, I mean literally sprint. And I think that if you mix the two zombie worlds up together and they got into a fight or something, that the ones that's in The Walking Dead will lose instantly, because these zombies over there, they don't even play, man. They're doing what they got to do. And I mean, it made me laugh hilariously to see them sprint like that. But the ordeal is, in the beginning, is when the sun sets, they have to go to sleep, because they have to. No, when it's daylight, they have to go to sleep because they're not used to the sun. It's one of these ways, I'm not quite sure, but over time they adapt to that too. And then the whole thing is the fight for the kingdom is simply the fight for who needs to be in power. And to overcome these zombies, this young lady that's a nurse that was with this doctor just got to try to figure out how to solve the situation. And the guy that's the prince, he looks and see these people struggling like this, and he understands that it really shouldn't be this way, that people have to eat to survive. And the reason that people are turning into zombies now is that the guy that's in power, I don't want to give too much away, he's just doing the things that he feel he got to do to be a ruler. And the show is good on two fronts, is that it's an amazing story, number one. And when you watching TV, you want to go into the make-believe sometimes. And then to see the zombie turn. And I've seen a lot of zombie shows, but I've never seen zombie that sprint at this pace. I think Usain Bolt would be like, man, they running like that? They chasing people like that? And he probably just laughed, because it's like the best one that I've seen where zombies don't even have no parameters as to how they need to be regulated. They got to do what they got to do. But they do have a weakness, and I won't give it all away. But it's only 2 seasons, so if it's something that you think that you would like to watch, and it's like 10 episodes, if it's something that I think that you guys would like to watch, I think you'll pretty enjoy it, because you've probably seen all of Walking Dead now to this point. But The Kingdom you may not have seen. If anybody's trying to watch a show about power and dominance and manipulation and things like that, and how the dead is used, this is a great show. It's a great show on that front, in terms of just having your mind to relax about everything that's going on in the world, and to see zombies wake up and sprint. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, when I say sprint, I'm not talking like sprint to telecommunication, but I'm talking about running, like Usain Bolt, like running. And it's an excellent show. So I just wanted to stop by and just talk to you about those 2 shows, because I think when you watch them, the dynamics, I mean, the principle is still the same. The zombies are just probably different, and the resolution is different. Rick, on the one hand, had to leave. Rick just couldn't deal with it no more, man. It was just all the years of trying to get people to become one unit to deal with these zombies just wasn't working. And then this prince, he sees the dynamic of the situation and forgo his title to try to figure out how can he save the people that are starving and how can he help eradicate these zombies that seem to have come out of nowhere. It's both for a struggle of humanity, a struggle for unity, and then at the same time to try to stop the wicked intent of someone trying to rule by dominating people with fear. So, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate your time. I hope that, you know, if you do, you sit down, if you watch all of The Walking Dead, and you're pretty good. If I'm pretty accurate to how the story is, cool. If not, I might have missed some things, but I understand that was the journey that Rick had to take, and the journey that he had to try to find himself. And by his son being gone, there was another thing to just make him realize, no matter what energy I put into this, I can't make it work. Great writing, great directing, great show. But when you have a lead character who's saying, man, I can't get these people together, just fly me on up out of here and let them deal with that on their own. And then you got a prince that's saying, I got to try to figure out what happened to my father. And if I got to go through this to save this community, then I will. But I need to find out what's behind it. Take the time out to just watch it. Only two seasons of The Kingdom, and there's like 10 episodes each. I think it may be 10 or 6, I'm not sure. But regardless, I think you'll enjoy them. But just pay attention to the zombies. And if it doesn't make you laugh and make you feel good about, you know, how certain shows are made, then I don't know what to make you laugh. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, if you like it, share it. I just hope you enjoy it. Me trying to break down how I saw it and see it, and hopefully you enjoy the same thing. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, continue to have a self-quarantine, self-distancing, social naturing kind of day with yourself. Just understand that, if you look at the history of man, we all go through something, man. Every generation or every century, something comes around, man. And there's always the other side. So since you're locked up in your house, I'm hoping that you're getting out and enjoying nature like I am. There's other people out here enjoying it too as well. Hopefully you can get out and do the same thing. You know, take in some fresh air, take in some sunshine, some clouds, some rain, and all of those things. You know, stay away from people. Do it in groups if you have to, but I mean like groups of 2. But just get out and do that. And then when you get ready to figure out what you want to watch, I recommend The Kingdom. And I think you'll thoroughly enjoy it. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, peace.